Hi, everyone. Welcome to our final mastermind for Start, Pivot, Grow. We have two more webinars that are not a part of Start, Pivot, Grow. One's happening Wednesday night on grant writing. Those of you who are actively searching for free grant funds for your small business, I am hosting an additional webinar on writing a successful grant application for your business. That's Wednesday night, 6:30. It's not a part of the Start Pivot Grow. It's just an extra one that I decided to host to help small businesses who are looking for grant capital, and those who have struggled in writing grant applications. So, yeah, that's hosted on Wednesday of this week, 6:30. If you haven't registered for that, make sure you do. Same link that you registered for this one. And then the other happens December 6th, right before the pitch competition. And that is for businesses who are looking to hire chief operating officers or fractional executives. The best practices of how to do that will be hosted on December 6th, and that's in the morning at 10 a.m. Okay? All right, so this is our session on. So this presentation tonight is, or webinar tonight, is covering the tips that you need to develop a winning pitch deck. Pitching, I shared a Instagram post and TikTok post earlier. If you don't follow me yet, follow me at Cynthia Nevels or Start Pivot Grow on Instagram, either one. And on TikTok, it is Start Pivot Grow. But I shared that there's billions of dollars that is awarded grant funds through pitch competitions across the United States. And there are a number of organizations that offer grant funds. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just making an announcement and then I'll introduce you here in just a moment. Okay. And then there are grant funds that are offered to small businesses that participate in pitch competitions, whether they are local, college campuses, corporations, foundations, tons of money through pitch competitions. And I mentioned that there was a company that I worked with some years ago, eyeglass company actually, that raised over $200,000 in grant funds through participating in pitch competitions across. That was their startup capital, and it's amazing. But the challenge often is that we don't know how to develop a pitch deck. We don't know what to say. We don't know what to share and how to present and tell a story. And so tonight, I want to help you, especially for those who have been going through the Start Pivot Grow cohort that may be applying to pitch in the December 7th Pitch It Texas competition for the $10,000 that's been sponsored by Wells Fargo Foundation. So this is designed to help you understand how to create a pitch deck and how to pitch your business to raise capital. So I hope you enjoy. As you all know, the way that this platform is set up, it doesn't allow you to talk and interact with me because I set it up as a webinar. And so, versus a virtual training like I usually do with you all. So if you have questions, place it in the Q&A section or in your chat, okay? And I'll answer those questions. But I'm so happy to have Anthony. Now, yes, he has the same last name as I, Anthony Nevels. He is with Accenture, and he has a plethora of knowledge in working with major corporations who raise capital all day, all the time. And he's gracious enough to join me tonight to share insight on this very topic. So I'm really grateful to have you here with me. Let me unmute you. Let me see. Just unmute yourself here. There you go.
Hello, yes, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. And as you mentioned, I do have several years of experience. I worked in the consulting industry. IT security has been my main field, and now I'm a security account lead. So a lot of sales, a lot of speaking to clients. I've been with the organization for 26 plus years um, in the IT field, just selling security and account lead stuff from public speaking, course making sales pitch as you know, and public speaking is not something that's new to me, and happy to help out in that area. And even if we need help with creating a deck, I can help with that as well.
I appreciate you so much. So we're going to get started here and begin the presentation without further ado, because I don't want to run out of time. But at any time, all of you who have joined on the call, if you have questions, put them into the chat or the Q&A section, and I'll make sure that I read them, okay? Also, always remember, make sure that you check your emails that are coming from Start Pivot Grow. A couple of them that I sent last I have missed, but I have provided a copy of all of the materials in each post each webinar. I've also provided the link to the videos for the recorded sessions from previous webinars, so you have access to all of the previous webinars through that same channel. And also instructions for those of you who reached out and are ready to schedule your business advising sessions with me. You may do that. And I put in that last email the schedule of available time slots that I have because my schedule is so full. So go ahead and book your time and I'll approve it if that's available so that we can get your time with me to work on your milestones, ask your questions, and prepare for your pitch. I'm not a judge in the pitch competition, so I'm able to review your pitch, answer your questions, make sure you present your strongest application. The deadline for you to apply to participate in the pitch competition, you have to get approved. Remember that. The deadline is I believe it's November the 27th, if my memory serves. And so you have a couple of weeks, but don't wait until the end to submit your application to participate in the pitch deck for the $10,000 pitch award sponsored by Wells Fargo. Okay? All right, so those are the instructions. You may schedule your one-on-one BA sessions with me. The application is now open for the pitch competition for $10,000 award. And I think you should have access to all of the previous webinars and please watch them. They have been really good, this cohort, really fantastic guests. All right, I'm going to now pull up our presentation. I hope life works for me and that this shows my screen successfully as Anthony and I get started. Again, thank you so much, Anthony, for being here. You've done an amazing job in your career, and I appreciate you sharing your time. I know it's valuable. So let's go ahead and see if everything's going to work for us. So we're talking about creating a winning pitch. Any of you who have never pitched before, these are the elements that you should know that your pitch should contain. Okay. So the first things first, the process, understanding why you are pitching. And so, Anthony, the first step is understanding why you're pitching, meaning what are you pitching for? Some business owners may be pitching for capital, to raise capital for their business. Some may be pitching to customers or to partners. But why is it so important for the business owner to understand the why they are pitching and who they're pitching to?
Is that just a question to me in general, or I'm sorry, just make sure we're aligned? Okay. Yeah. So definitely understanding your market. So you're bringing a value, a product, a service to that client or to that customer or to the industry itself. And so you need to really understand what the concerns are in that industry or in that market. So that is the main reason that you're pitching is so that you are bringing a market value, you're addressing their concern, and you're providing a solution to that concern. So that's just a start. So we won't go, I know there's another point to this, so I won't dig into it because I can go on and on, but definitely you need to know your customer, your audience, and understand their market. Um, and we'll just stop right there before I go into competitors and everything else.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Now, this is in case you are using your pitch deck to sell to a big client, a big partner, a large corporation. The reason why that's important for some of you all's businesses is that we have found, or I've found in the past, there are some corporations who are open to partnerships with smaller businesses, which can be a means for accessing resources that you don't have to pay for. It's not direct cash in the bank, so to speak, but it is very helpful sometimes to align your smaller business with a larger business in order for you to go to market faster or to have access to a wider customer base. And so, understanding why you're pitching is really important. The flip side to that, for those of you who are pitching in a pitch competition for cash, for grant awards, understanding who your audience is and what they really want to hear from you is important. And it is okay for you to ask the question what the judges want to hear and the criteria that they're judging you against. So the process starts with understanding the why. Why are you pitching? Are you pitching to raise money, meaning cash grant award? Are you pitching to sell to a partner or are you pitching to sell to a customer? Because we sell every day as a small business. It's what we do. That's the exchange, that's the trade every day. All right, so first step of the process. Next, all righty. We talked about who are you pitching to. So, Anthony, what are some techniques that business owners could potentially use to better understand the audience that they may be speaking to? What kind of questions could they ask to get to know them so that they can better frame their pitch?
That's great. That's a great question. One of the first things that I always do is read the room, read the audience. Uh, before I ask the question, uh, I'm getting to know them. I'm opening up with a salutation, something that's familiar to everybody. Just how's the weather? How was, how did your weekend go? Things like that. So I can get a little feel of the personality of who it is that I'm going to discuss business with. That's just to kind of warm things up and to kind of make that little light intro. So that kind of helps me understand the first part of who I'm pitching to. Some people, and then you kind of have to know the mood or the environment of the room as well. So in this instance, we're talking about trying to win a grant, I believe it's called. Yeah, winning a grant. So if I'm looking at that, I'm reading the room to figure out what it is that the audience is wanting from me. So the first question I will probably ask is, tell me about some of the other grant owners or grant recipients. Tell me about some of the other products. I would ask, I would kind of get some background under what type of competition I'm going up against, so to speak. And the judges who have been there before, maybe the judges are new. I may want to understand what it is that interests them and what it is that they're looking for an innovation. It doesn't have to necessarily align to my product, but I can use that to align with my product. So that's how I would kind of understand it. That's how I would go about understanding who I'm pitching to.
Okay, thank you. And so the judges for our pitch competition, just so that folks are aware, are going to be community leaders as well as senior executive bankers from Wells Fargo Bank. And so there'll be two bankers that will be present as judges. And then we'll have two business leaders that will be judges for the event as well. And so these folks are going to be evaluating your business model, which is what you're here for in this program, to understand how to improve and or enhance and understand what model you have. They're going to be evaluating also on viability. Does your business model make sense? Is it based in reality? Is it clear? And would it be something that they would want to support? Support comes in many different ways when you're pitching to different audiences, but in this particular environment, they're looking to figure out, can you use the $10,000 to move your business forward? And you want to be very clear about that. Okay. All right. Thank you. Ah, the next part is, what do you need? So this section is about what is it that you need in your business, meaning how can you best use $10,000, $25,000, 30, 40, 50, whatever you're pitching for, what can you use those those investment dollars into your business? What can you use them for? And being very clear about how you will allocate those funds and what the expected return will be. And so when you're pitching, you you don't want to be vague. And what I mean by that is simply stating that you need working capital and then moving on from that statement does not provide clarity in the specifics of where it would be allocated and how that would impact your ability to make more money, also known as generate return. So, that process that we talked about in the workshops when we were reviewing your financials and really working to understand where you are financially and then identify what needs you have in your business financially, this is where that component comes in so that you can clearly state, my position is this investment will help me in this way, A, B, and C. And when I execute my strategy, I expect a return of blank or to generate X amount of revenue over a period of time from this grant. Okay, hopefully you got that. And we'll come back and answer any questions that you may have. What do you want? So, what you need and what you want are two different things. What you need is the missing piece or the gap that you have in your business. What you want is for them to invest in you, for them to support you, for them to understand your business and understand what your ask is. Those are two different things. And so being very clear, especially at the end, to close it out, so to speak. So I don't know what the language would be in your world, Anthony, but how do you make sure that you are clear with your target audience as to what you want from them?
So definitely going back to the first part of this is the business model, the business plan. That defines it all for me. So, I start with, where we are currently today and then where we're going to the future. So that sets in their mind, that sets the story, so to speak, in their mind of how the solution is going to work for them or how this product is going to work for them and how it will service them. all the way through transformation of, you know, the business outcomes, the predictions of the business outcome, how it's going to make things simpler, easier for them, how it's going to innovate for them. I'm getting right down to how things are going to be organized. It's going to be reusable. I'm going to move it all the way into the section of, is this scalable for them? You know, can they see this product working for them on several different levels? So at the end of the day, I've painted out a business model and a projection. And of course, back to what you said before, I've thrown in people, resources, finances. I've thrown them the whole, kind of painted the whole thing for them so they don't have to do much thinking at all, but they can see how it fits in their organization. It can see how it fit in their business, is see how it fits in their demographic or their market area. I just kind of put it all together for them in one package, maybe on one slide, or and I can even show them also. Just got to think about it. Sometimes I may even show them how it would compete against their competitors in that same market space. So at the end of the day, they have a full picture in their mind of how this will come together, how this will work, and how it'd be usable, how it'd be usable and scalable for them.
And so when you're getting ready to close out your pitch and you know you want the business, what do you say? Do you say, "Can I count on you to join us? Can I count on you to sign up with us?" How do you close out?
So normally my closing is basically at how I ask. I'm sorry, excuse me. I basically just ask, let's follow up on this day. I really don't leave it open for them to come back to me and follow up. I let them know we'll follow up at this time on this day. Is that doable for you? Uh, that kind of closes the door to give any doubt in the mind that we're going to close that. I'm thinking we're going to close this deal and that this deal is going to work. It's going to go through. Um, in the area of this grant, I can't really say that, but I would probably close it out so I can pick up the grant. No, but I'm being a little humorous there. But at the end of the day, I don't want to leave anything open to chance. So I definitely want to get that answer. And sometimes the client or the customer will say, let me get back to you on that date. I will still kind of subtly and gently say, oh, if that date won't work, so how about we do it at this time or we close up on this date? And that's okay. That's okay because they understand that you are wanting to move forward. And if they still need time, all you're asking them for is let's go ahead and let's close out either way. We need to know something either way. So it's okay to gently follow up with another second date. So I usually have two dates in mind. I usually already walk in the door knowing I'm coming in with two dates and we're going to close this deal one way or the other.
Got it. Thank you.
Don't leave it open to chance. Don't leave a follow up meeting. I don't like follow up meetings, or unless there's another stakeholder that wasn't there. Normally, I close that out too. Make sure we get all the stakeholders in the first meeting. You don't want to have to come back and repeat this and do this again.
Very
Right,
true.
right.
So if you had an opportunity to sit down with a decision maker that has a pocket of money or a budget, you want to ensure you know what that budget is beforehand. You want to ensure you know all of the stakeholders that should be in the room when you're pitching. You want to ensure that you have a clear idea of what problem that you're presenting and what solutions you're bringing to the table with your business. And then when you have finished presenting a slam dunk presentation on the why they should choose you, you want to close out with, "I want the funds," or "I look forward to being awarded the deal." Whatever you're pitching for, to make sure that you don't leave any, number one, leave any question on the table that you came there to win. But secondly, to make sure that in their minds, they know that you're serious. I can't tell you how many times I have heard pitches over the years that people never made the ask. They never said what they wanted during that pitch. And so that you want to be very clear. Once you have sung the song, you want to be very clear as to what it is that you want. Okay. How much, by when, how, the details. Don't forget to make the ask. Okay. I've already talked about how sharing how the funds would be used in the grant, or excuse me, not the grant, but in the pitch deck. So this part is often overlooked in a lot of pitches that I've seen over the years. And the reason being is because people may not have done their homework. They may not have done their financial projections. They may not have written their action plan. They may not have written their business model clearly, nor a business plan. And so they do not have a clear idea of what the true budget is, where funds would be allocated, and how it would be used. I can say that I have been able to win grant applications on those standardized grant applications for businesses, and by being very clear as to how the funds would be used, at what time they would be allocated, and then sharing the return, meaning the impact that that would have on my business if I were able to acquire the capital through this grant award. So just you want to be very clear about that. You want to make sure you've worked through that and make sure that you allocate it in the right place. And this is what I mean by that. Allocation of funds into areas that make you more money are ideal. Allocation of funds into administrative tasks that don't make money are not. So if you're asking for a $10,000 award through your pitch, and you're asking to hire an admin to handle your paperwork and answer your phones, that's likely not going to be a winning pitch. But if you're asking for $10,000 to pour into, let's say, a new piece of equipment that will allow you to do your job faster, better, at a lower price, or more efficiently than your competition, and allow you to now double your capacity to generate revenue, that investment makes sense. Okay? There's a difference. And so this is what you want to ensure that you're very clear about in your pitch deck. But keep in mind, all of this that Anthony and I are sharing with you, typically you may only have 1, 2, or 3 minutes to get all of this in. And storytelling is really important. And so it's not easy to compress what we're sharing with you into 1 to 3 minutes. Rarely will you have five. Five seems like eternity. And so you have to become really good at understanding these factors and then being able to tell it concisely and clearly in 1 to 3 minutes. Not to scare you, but that's what pitching is, because you don't have a lot of time often. Alrighty. So now I'm getting into the slides, the technical aspect here. What elements of your pitch? So first you start off with who you are, meaning your business. What does your business do? How long have you been doing it? How large is your industry? What's your history and what's your experience? And framing that story in 2 to 3 sentences, because in a pitch, you don't have a lot of time. So you can't start, well, I was a young girl, I grew up in Grand Prairie. You can't start there. You have to start with the very succinct and shortened version of who, what's your history, what are your accolades and accomplishments and experience and skill, and 2 to 3 sentences, and do it well. but not too fast where you lose them. Okay. And so, Anthony, when you're pitching, whether it's for a sale or a deal with a client or partner versus for a pitch competition, history and experience, does that matter to the audience members?
Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. Definitely. It's the simplistic thing of going for a bank loan. You know, they want to see your financial history before they give
Mhm.
you any money. So it's the same when you come into a pitch. They want to know how long you've been in the market area, or how long you've been in the industry, or how long you have dealt with this product or this solution, this service that you're bringing to them. They want to know your background in that, how strong you're in that background, and then your history. You know, what have been your ups and downs? What have you learned? Doesn't necessarily mean that you won't get the win. They just want to know, do you have that experience or that history in this industry with this product, with this service, with this solution? And I say it in so many different ways because a lot of people bring ideas to the table. That doesn't mean that those ideas are not great ideas, but how influential or how much time have you spent with this idea? Have you tested this idea? Have you vetted this idea? Have you, put it out on the market before? They just want to know what they're investing into, and if everything is new and you're coming in with something new, then you have to bring some type of analytics, some type of data, some type of fact. Let's just simplify. You have to bring facts to the table to let them know that you're serious and that you have studied this and you have researched it, right? So that's basically why it's so important to have history or experience in the area that you're promoting or that you're solutionizing. Thank you.
Hmm. That's excellent. Thank you. All righty. I want to make sure you all can see this presentation right on the screen. Can you see it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. They're not able to. The system
There's
won't platform won't let them audio work. Okay, excellent. So next element, technical aspect of your pitch. What is your model? And what do you sell and why? So, when we in the workshop, for those of you who are participants in the cohort and you participated in the initial in person workshops, we talked about designing your business model. Hopefully, you have worked on that homework, you have began actually writing out your business model. Don't skip this process, it is paramount and important to building a better pitch deck as well as grant application. If you are able to clearly define and describe what your business model is, it makes you be able to pitch better and more clearly. And then also tying or aligning your solution to the problem and why you are the better option is key in your pitch. If you were to watch pitch competitions on YouTube or any other outlet, you will find that they are very good at describing what their model is, what solution they bring to the table to solve a big problem or capitalize on an opportunity, and why they're the better solution. That is key to your pitch. You do not have to spend 30 minutes trying to break it down to me if you've done your lean canvas and really understand what your business model is. So make sure that you've completed that homework because it'll help you present a better pitch deck that is very concise in where you fit in the industry and in your market. Okay. All right. Next, who are your customers and how much room do you have to grow? So here's something I want you about in trying to figure out how do you tell the story about your personas. We talked about this in the cohort as well for those of you in the program, but those of you who are in business and have traction, you know who your customers are. And so being able to describe and profile them is really important in your pitch because it helps the judges or your audience to get a picture of how it works, how it relates to their problem, how it relates to their world, how it connects to them. So, understanding your personas and your market segments are important. Understanding how you fit in the market is important. Using keywords that matter to your customers is important. And then, how much room do you have to grow in this space? So, I do this quite often. It's a simple number, and I'm not trying to simplify anyone's business. I'm trying to make it relative as to the how much opportunity truly exists. We call it market capitalization, but the if you wanted to build a $1 million revenue business, if you were to break it down to the numbers, that's 5,000 customers times $2,000. Am I saying that right? 5,000 customers a month buying $2,000 in service from you will allow you to reach a $1 million annual revenue goal. Well, if you don't know how large your audience is or your market size is, it's hard for you to figure out whether or not you have the ability or if it's feasible to reach a $1 million revenue goal because you don't know how much room you have to grow. You don't know how large the market is. You don't know what the size is. And so, this is really important when you're pitching for money, especially for those of you who may be selling tech, for those of you who are selling food, for those of you who are selling healthcare. The possibilities are infinite because there are humans who eat, there are humans who need healthcare, and tech is prevalent. And so, truly understanding how large the market really is outside of your city and state is important to be able to explain to an investor or a grant funder who is looking to invest in your business for growth. If you can't define or describe or tell them the growth potential, makes it difficult for them to understand how you're going to use the funds to grow. Hopefully that makes sense. Anthony, you have anything to share on that part on why understanding your customers are important?
Um, no, no, I mean you nailed it on all points. My business model will have mergers and acquisitions, so we just take over. So yeah, we have room to grow. So, but no, no, you nailed it on all points. I'll let you move on. I just got to thinking. I think if I didn't have room, I'd just make some mergers and acquisitions and put that in my business.
Well, that's a good point. So, side
It's
note,
a hustle, right? It's a hustle. So get it going. All right. I'm
it's
sorry.
oh, that's okay. It's actually a good point because I was talking to someone, I can't remember who was I talking to? I think it's an attorney. I can't remember it last week. And we were just talking about industry. And we talked about how larger corporations really do keep tabs on high growth ventures that are making a dent in the industry by absorbing
Right.
large
Right.
amounts of
Right.
customers.
Right.
And whenever you start infringing upon their market share, and what that means is when you start getting more customers, getting traction, getting building a 1 million, 2 million, 5, $10 million business,
Time to
that
talk.
is reasonable and feasible. When you
Hmm.
start making a dent in your industry, the big companies start sitting up and paying. They either want to destroy you or they want to buy you. And that's where mergers and acquisitions come in because they want to swallow you up, get you
Right.
out of the way. use what you have, so to speak,
Well,
to grow.
overall, the bigger corporations can't get into your market. They're too big. Your customers, your clients can't afford what the larger organizations' services are charging.
Hmm.
So for those larger organizations to kind of control that market or to get into your market space, they look for acquisition or they look for a merger with you so that they can do business with your clients, and then they absorb that. So it's kind of it's more a little bit more detailed than that, but that's kind of how it's looked at when you look at mergers. So that's I would like I said, just jokingly, I was saying jokingly, if I didn't have room to grow, I'm probably going to start looking at mergers and acquisitions as part of phase two of my business model.
Agreed. Yes.
Yeah,
Perfect. And so, Crystal, if she's still on, I can't see my other screen. Crystal still on. Tammy, if she's still on. Boaz in the transportation industry. You all should really, and that's not taken away from anyone else's business. Mary, you're in food. Um, but you all really want to pay attention to who are the big companies in your industry. What do they do well? What is missing in their model? Are you swallowing up market share? And if you're not, really start focusing on how do you get more customers. And what happens is they'll start paying attention. I've even seen larger companies do joint ventures with smaller businesses that so that they could enter into a space that they aren't in
that's right.
and grow both businesses.
All
Anything
the
is
time.
possible. And
Yeah,
you have to pitch in order to get that type of deal as well.
all the time.
Um,
All the time.
yeah. All right, so the next technical aspect here is your how will you scale or expand your business? So again, in that 2 to 3 minute, 1 to 3 minute time frame, you have to be able to explain all of this very clearly, and so that the audience has a clear idea of where you're going. And so thinking about growth is increasing revenue. Scaling is growing revenue without changing or impacting your expenses, meaning using the same resources that you had to make $100,000 to now make $1 million. That's scale. Growth is incremental increases in revenue by acquiring new customers or selling more. Hopefully, you guys wrote that down. There's a difference. And so, when you're asking for or pitching for capital, you must be able to explain this capital will help me grow or this capital will help me expand, and explain how. And then, lastly, here, what are your financial numbers today? This is why we had that session on financial reports. It was a high level introduction to the profit and loss statement, the balance sheet, the cash flow statement. But as the CEO of your company, you want to ensure that you are clear on how you make money today, what it costs you to make that money, your cost of sales and cost of goods, and your profit margins, and how the investment of capital can help you either create efficiencies to increase profitability or to allow you to improve your operation to increase sales. And that's really important. And so, if I don't stress anything with you all throughout this program, become really, really comfortable with your numbers and understanding ratios that impact your business so that you can be able to speak to that when you are having conversations with banks, funders, investors, partners, and clients. Because if you venture into government agencies as clients into the government space, as some of you are, you may bid on a deal that is a 6 or 7 or 8 figure deal. When you start getting into the higher numbers, They will ask you for your financials. You have to show and prove that you have the fiduciary capacity to serve their needs. And if your numbers are not in order, you don't get the contract. So it's really important if you're pitching for money, whether it's for sales or if it's for funding, you have your numbers in order and you can explain how you're going to grow or expand your business. Okay. Alrighty. Lastly, here, what are your financial goals? What capital do you need? We kind of touched on that already. Um, and if you've already received capital, be prepared to answer questions about that. Whether it was your grandmother gave you money to help you get started, or you received a loan from two banks, or you have a home equity line of credit, whatever your funding sources have been, be prepared to have to answer those questions in a pitch if it makes sense. And if you can't answer those, that may cost you the deal. Just always be prepared to explain what your goals are, but how you funded yourself thus far.
Mhm.
Okay. And then we've already talked about being very clear about how your funds have been allocated and where you're going to invest the pitch dollars into your business and how it's going to help you grow. Okay. And then what's next? What's next is creating a really solid pitch deck that probably is no more than 15 slides. If you get into more than 15 slides with too much narrative and too many words, too many sentences, you're going to go beyond 3 minutes. It takes skill and practice to take all of this information and compress it into a slide or a pitch deck that is understandable, that is the idea is feasible and clear. So Anthony, do you all use like templates for your sales pitches? Are there tips that you can share about PowerPoint presentation and what should be included and not?
Sure, it always depends on the type of acquisition, or I say, oh, I'm stuck on acquisitions. It always depends on the type of pitch we're going for. So in this case, we're talking about grants or we're talking about money to move forward.
Mhm,
I don't do a lot of those personally myself, but the whole idea is yes, we would develop a template of some kind with
mhm,
the pertinent questions that need to be answered, which you have here. Everything you have in this deck is some of the questions that we have that we would want to answer. And then we would relate those to the audience, so to speak, or to the project or to wherever the pitch is going to be spoken or who we're speaking to. Um, Other cases, they would be shorter, longer. When you said 15, I was like, wow, 15 in 3 minutes. I think I'd probably do 6 or 7, and
okay.
and make sure that my story is solid because I'm more of a speaker myself, and so I don't want them spending a lot of time in the slide because I always already know they can go back to the slide. What I want them to do is focus in on what I'm giving them, what I'm telling them, the story that I'm laying. So that's just me. It probably depends on each presentator or presenter how they would want to move forward. Some people are more let the slide tell the story, so you would need all 15, but you would be
Mhm,
clicking pretty fast. I think you'd be
mhm,
clicking. So that's kind of how I would go about it. But yes, we do use templates. We put those together. We rehearse the templates. I can't tell you how many times, even 5 minutes before getting into the call or getting into the meeting, I'm reviewing my audience. I'm reviewing, certain points in that deck because I want to speak from memory. I don't want to speak from the deck. When I click on the slide or when I go to the slide, I already know what's on that slide before I begin to speak to it. If there's a technical problem, which I've been in several, there is a technical problem, I can keep it moving. So that's how well I want to know the content. That's how much I prepare to know the content. And something like this, if I'm going after money and things like that, I want to know my content. I want to know everything all these questions I have memorized. And that way, at the time of Q&A, I can elaborate on everything that I just spoke to. I can spend my time there instead of spending my time on what did I say? What was, it's more that, so I spend time. I'm in the mirror sometimes. I'm just sometimes I turn on my camera like this, to be
Mhm.
honest, because we're going after some high profile deals, and some of the clients I've had relationships with, I know how they can be. And if I don't know the audience, I'm going to spend time on the camera, especially if I'm virtual and I'm not face to face, so we're not making those deals. I don't mean to take up the time just rambling, but those are some of the things that I practice and I do because it's important. It's important. Once you get that first win and you get a taste of it, it's an addiction. You just, oh, this is easy. I can keep doing this, and you just want to keep going after it. So those are some of the things that you want to practice: is getting in the mirror, getting on the camera if you're virtual, uh, speak in front of, I wouldn't say necessarily family because family's a little close to you. I would
Mhm.
probably speak in front of, like, get some strangers, maybe from the church or other things that you're involved in. Just kind of, hey, you got 5 minutes? Can we just run through something real quick? Necessarily don't want to share the idea, but you might want to share your how you pitch. Those are just, I know it's grade school, it's kind of things we learned in college and high school, but it works and it will put money in your pocket. All right, that's it.
Thank you so much. I agree. And no, you're not rambling. That's exactly what I want our participants to understand. Practice, practice, practice in the mirror, record yourself, keep and memorize your pitch deck because you don't want to stop your flow. If anything goes wrong around you, you are connected with the audience and you know your story inside and out. Nothing to be nervous about because if you've been in business and you've been running your business, you know it. It's just the practice of telling the story concisely in a short period of time to ensure that your audience hears you, connects with you, relates to what you're saying, and can visualize how they fit and how they can help you and support you. So that's really important. Also,
Can I
just
say one other thing real quick?
oh,
I'm
sure, sure,
sorry, I
sure.
didn't mean to cut you off. Just real, I just thought about something.
Yeah.
A lot of times, what I see a lot of times when people are doing pitches is they're not their authentic themselves. They're not authentic.
Oh.
It comes off. Do not change who you are. Now, I'm not saying speak as if you were speaking to your family or
Mhm.
friends, but I am saying that do not try to be Denzel Washington or Morgan Freeman or uh, what's her name? Can't even think right now. But don't be the Oprah Winfrey or just be yourself.
Mhm.
When you're presenting, because you'll catch yourself getting uncomfortable. Then you try to find that persona again, and it's tough. You won't
Yeah.
recover. You will never recover. So just be yourself, and then the audience is kind of like, are they trying to phase me? Are they trying to, So just be your authentic self is all I would say. Thank you. Sorry.
That's a good point. No worries. That's an excellent point. Those who are comfortable presenting because they are being themselves and they are connecting to what they already do have a better chance of relating to the audience better. They can connect with eye contact. They're able to, what's the word? Manage their breath. Because often what I see in pitches when people, especially when people are really nervous because they haven't practiced, is that their breathing is off. And so they'll run out of breath quickly. And then when that happens, they get more nervous. And then that makes them forget what they were going to say. So be yourself, connect with your pitch deck, practice, and then be relatable through your authenticity. That's a good point. Okay, so I am going to go back and see if there are questions for. Okay, let's see. All right. Tammy asked, do we have a pitch deck? I do believe that in last cohort I created a template. Think I did. So I'll make sure that everyone who applies to pitch will receive the deck, and it's because we want the decks to look the same, and so they will insert their answers. But you don't, if you are selected to pitch, you will not take anything in the room with you. You can, if you can bring samples. If you have samples, you can bring a one sheeter to explain your business, but you can't read from postcards. You can't read from a slide. It's you in the room with the judges. There's no prompts. Okay. So, and I'm telling you from experience, everyone who has pitched thus far in Start Pivot Grow has done an outstanding job with their pitch deck, with their pitches, because they practiced. They were prepared. Alrighty, so thanks for asking that question. Linda Gray, is it good to scale and expand to sell your business and then take those funds and create another business? Okay, is it good to scale and expand to sell your business? Take those funds and, well, good is subjective. Is it a strategy to build up one business, sell it as an exit strategy, take some of the funds that you make from that sale, start another business and rinse and repeat until you're a billionaire? Absolutely. Anthony, do you see businesses that perhaps do this where they build, scale businesses, make as much money as they possibly can, and then they will sell it and then they go and rinse and repeat and do it again because they know the skills?
So yes, there are a lot there. You see that a lot of times with entrepreneurs. All that basically says that you're somebody who knows how to create business and knows how to work in the business model, in the business market. You can keep repeating yourself, keep repeating your business. A lot of entrepreneurs that are, I think, are billionaires are those that, uh, you know, they model in the same business arena. So, what am I trying to? So like your, what's the Tesla guy? I'm sorry, I should know his name.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Elon Musk has several different businesses, and he continually buys another, but he holds on to what he has until he's tired of that particular one. So he doesn't necessarily get rid of one. He starts others or goes into other marketplaces. And a lot of times, what you see is they don't necessarily start those businesses; they acquire those businesses and move into those market areas. So that I think is probably the easier thing. Like, why recreate the wheel when it's already one out there, and you just want to do it better. So like he took over Twitter, changed it to X and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah,
That kind of thing. I think that's more of what we're starting to see more commonly today is people just acquiring other wheels, so to speak, and they just building upon them. So it just depends on which way you want to go. But it's a fine idea. It's a great idea. But I'm more along the lines of make it easier for yourself.
agreed. Um, so one thing that you said is they learn the technical aspect of building businesses, which is
Hmm.
what we teach in Start Pivot Grow.
Hmm.
Once you have learned how to write a business plan, how to write a growth strategy, how to write a business model, how to create an action plan, which are your actionable roadmap or actionable steps in your roadmap of what you're going to do to grow. And then you create your uh, financial projections and you understand your market and you're able to make money, you can take the same process that I teach you in Start Pivot Grow, apply it to a new business in a similar industry or like industry or not, and do the same thing because you have the technical skill to manage for growth.
You
That's
have a
the
template.
hmm.
Sorry, you have a template. Yes.
Yes, you have a template for growth, absolutely. But if you still struggle with that part, then continue to learn and continue to iterate until you hit this sweet spot and you find your people. And I talk about that often in Start, Pivot, Grow, in making sure you understand all facets, especially processes, procedures, systems, and finances. But most important, understand how to sell and understand how to connect with your audience in a real way, provide a solution to a problem. Okay, Alberta, can you demonstrate an action during a pitch? Can you demonstrate an action during a pitch? An action during a pitch. Alberta, I don't know if I understand that question. Let me see where your question went. Um, See if you can ask that. Me, can you please state who we will be pitching to again? Okay. So Alberta, you will be pitching. We will have two Wells Fargo executives who are judges, and we'll have two additional business leaders who will be judges. So we will have 3 to 4 judges that day who will be judging the participants in the pitch competition. They will have a criteria of what they are judging for. You will be aware of what those are, but there are 4 areas, and it's basically what I shared with you today. One is we want to know what your business model is. Two, we want to know that you understand your financials and that you clearly state how the funds will be used, but that you also understand the market, where you fit in the market, and how you plan to grow. Those are the 5 areas that they are judging for. Again, you will not have the ability to bring prompts. You can bring samples. There is no demonstration, but you can bring a one-sheeter information sheet to hand out to them, pre-printed, bring with you to hand out when you come into the room. And it's just you and the judges in the room. I won't even be there. All right, great question. If you are not pitching, can you? Yes. So this time the pitch competition is going to be open. I shouldn't have said that there won't be anyone in the room. That's not true. So, Dennis, yes, this cohort, we are opening it up to people to be in the audience, especially Start, Pivot, Grow attendees will be able to be in the room to watch the pitch. They won't vote, but they'll be able to watch the pitch. So, this will be different for Start, Pivot, Grow. We've never done that before, but this cohort we are. And so, yes, is the answer. And that's December 7th 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Dallas College Venture Club, which really is the Bill J. Priest Institute, 1402 Corinth Street in Dallas. But that's in the email as well. All
I have a
right.
question. I know I'm not part of the program, but I have a question. I think it would be helpful. Um, just in one, every time we go after a deal, or every time yeah, just I'll just leave it there. Every time we go after a deal, one of the things, if we don't win the deal, we always do a follow up. What did we do? Not
Yes.
necessarily what did we do wrong, or what areas did we miss, or how can we strengthen? So is that part of this as well? Do they get to ask that question? Because obviously this isn't going to be the first or last time that they pitch.
I hope it's not the last for sure. That's a great question. So the judge criteria is electronic. So the judges will provide their notes on each participant or pitch contestant, and then we collect that data, and then we will email it to the contestant so that they can see the feedback from the judges. So yes, you will get feedback, and which is quite helpful for those who want to continue. And then Mary, If you don't participate in the upcoming pitch, I hope that you're able to at least apply. Can you participate in the future? The answer is yes. All alumni who successfully complete all criteria for the cohort and graduate will be able to apply to any future. And so we have two that are coming up, cohort 7 and cohort 8 in 2024. I do not have pitch dates for those yet, but you can apply. Yes. Okay. Sammy, hopefully I didn't miss this. On the application, when it asks for a video, what are you looking for? It is your mini pitch. The video in the application is why you want to pitch and why you need funding, essentially. I'm putting this answer here. So it's your mini pitch that is included in the application. It is optional for any of you. It is optional, but it really does help us when we are assessing the applications because we get a number of applications and we usually only allow for 4 contestants out of all the applications. Everyone doesn't get to pitch. Um, okay, Linda, I'm glad you were able to join in. Bose, you said camera. Hopefully you were able to, and then that's just everyone saying hi. Okay, wonderful. I think I've answered all of the questions. Can you put pictures in your pitch deck? You're not presenting your presentation. You're actually speaking from memory. But on your one-sheeter that you want to bring with you to hand to the judges to introduce your business or your company, if you feel that a picture helps, sure. But you're not presenting a presentation. You're speaking, pitching without a presentation. Okay, so hopefully
I
that.
can say from experience that is the most effective way to get your pitch across is to present from memory.
Mhm,
A slide is great, but it's distracting to the audience.
mhm,
They are reading the slide more than they're really paying attention to what you're saying.
mhm,
So what you're trying to get across can get missed, and it's so crucial that you get across all of your points. I know for people who don't do a lot of public speaking and that don't, kind of speak out, it can be tough at first, but you will find your comfort zone. I can guarantee you, I found it.
mhm.
You will be able to move forward, but you'll be more comfortable speaking from your memory than if you had a slide. The slide also kind of it doesn't help you because you're looking for notes. You're looking for things to remember to say and not forget. But if you have it up here, you got it retained, and everything that you say to your audience will come out more effectively because it's more passionate. It's not like something you're just reading from a book or a script or anything like that that you just put together. Use your presentation, your template, however you want to call it, to help you, but don't use it to get you over the finish line. Because I guarantee you, going forward in the future, you'll be pitching every day. Every time you see something or you see an opportunity, or you're going to be pitching from memory, not from that presentation deck or not from your iPhone or your Droid or whatever. Apologies again. I'm passionate about it, as you can see.
Don't apologize. That's why you're here to help us. So thank you. All righty, very good. Did I hear you only allow 4 people to pitch? Typically, when the applications are submitted, what we have selected in the past have been 4 to 5 contestants out of all of the applications. We really do pick the best out of the best. And we've had some really great pitches over the last 2 years. And some of you know some of the winners. We've just had another success story for one of the winners who won $10,000 the year before or cohort before. She's used her pitch award to pay for her trademark. She was just announced top, I think, 10 pie companies in Dallas by the Dallas Observer this past weekend. Another group that won the $10,000 last cohort bought two trucks, delivery trucks that they have been waiting on for years to be able to afford to buy, and they were able to use their funds plus the training to actually acquire two catering or delivery trucks, which is a huge milestone for them. And then another winner was able to get their beverages into local coffee shops, launch a beautiful website, and really has significantly moved the needle in their business from ground zero. So it really is the best of the best when you are submitting. You want to take your time, submit the best application you can. Don't rush through it, because we are selective as to who gets to pitch. And you never know who's going to be in the room. Alrighty, hopefully that answers your question, Crystal. All right, so we have a couple of minutes. I want to say I don't see any additional questions here. If I missed anything, I apologize. What happened to the coffee guy last year? Oh, that's the one I'm speaking of, who's gotten his beverages into coffee houses. He started selling canned spritzers or refreshers, is what he calls them. And last I heard, he's doing well. Um, so, yeah, that's what happened to the winner last time. All right, Anthony, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you sharing from both the side of pitching for selling to customers, that's important, but also for partnering as well. And then we talked about pitching to raise capital. Again, there are so many pitch competitions. Just go and Google pitch competition, and you will find so many of them out there. Do your homework. Work with me in your advising sessions. Get your business in order so that you too can raise 50, 75, 100,000, $200,000 in pitch competitions. If you become really good at telling your story, you will be able to compete at a higher level. And that's exactly what we want for you. All right.
Good luck to
Schedule.
everyone.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you all so much. All righty. You're welcome, Mary. Y'all have a good evening. We have the business grant writing class webinar coming up on Wednesday night for those of you who are interested in writing better grant applications. You're welcome, Dennis. Thank you all. All right. Have a good night.